Mike Gonzalez is here, author of The Plot to Change America, How Identity Politics is Dividing the Land of the Free. Mr. Gonzalez, how are you, sir?
How are you, Mike? I read that report.
Really good to talk to
you.
I don't want to, before we get to that though, and I don't want to get you too off guard, but in the last segment we just played, related to the George Floyd murder trial, we just played a clip from the ABC News anchor who talked about how America's on trial, and this is about black v. white, and that neck symbolize the injustice against black people, and can black people ever get justice if he's acquitted, and like all these super sensational claims. What do we do with that? Like, is this trial, well, no. The defense clearly will try to make this a referendum on America. Is what happened with George Floyd a referendum on America?
No, of course it's not. It's a horrific death that the poor man suffered. We all saw it. Everybody who saw that death was somehow damaged by it because we saw how he died. But it's not. This is not America. To pretend that this is America is a political project. It's a political project led by the Black Lives Matters organizations, first and foremost, and we get from its impact report how well they used this horrific tragedy in order to change America along the lines that they would like to change it. As you know, because I have said this on your show before, the leaders of the Black Lives Matters organizations, nothing to do with the concept, the organizations are Marxists who don't like capitalism, don't like any aspect of capitalism, don't like our freedom to trade with each other, our freedom to be able to part with our property or to own property, and they're using this tragedy to change America. That's the reason why I call my book "The Plot to Change America," by the way.
So that's a bold claim. How do you prove that? How do you prove that these are not just people, the activists? I'm not talking about the person who is on Twitter and like tweets it out or whatever, but the activists, the people leading the organization. How do you prove that they're not just people who genuinely are against whatever, bad things happening to black people, but they're more than that?
Well, you and I are against bad things happening to black people and white people and everybody else. I don't have to prove it. They prove it. I quote them. By the way, you should know, and I'm breaking a little bit of news here, that I've just finished another book that the publishers are going to fast forward for publication in September, and it's on Black Lives Matter. The book is going to be on these organizations. These organizations they say this themselves. I quote them. They say that they don't, Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi do not like capitalism. They prefer the participatory democracy, quote unquote, that Venezuela practices, which is not democracy at all. To our representative system. They don't like many aspects of America. They say that the Constitution is illegitimate because the Constitution stands in the way of the things they want to do. So I don't have, it's not me saying it, I quote them.
So what's the connection between Black Lives Matter and against capitalism? Like, how are they going to use Black Lives Matter to fight against capitalism?
Well, they say that capitalism is inherently racist. The Marxists have always had a problem, and they are Marxists. From Karl Marx on down, they've had a problem with private property, and not only with alienated private property, that means private property that you can sell, but also with alienated labor that you can sell. They consider wage to work for another man a continuation of slavery. That's why they call it wage slavery. Obviously, it's the opposite, right? It's working for another man for free that makes you a slave. If you get a wage, you're not a slave, and you choose to do it. They all say that it's not just them, right? It's everybody who practices a critical race theory. Ibram X. Kendi also says that he does not like capitalism, but capitalism is racist. Robin DiAngelo, also the writer of White Fragility, also says that capitalism produces bad outcomes and it is racist. It's not just them, but if we're talking about Black Lives Matter, yes, all of them say it. Not just the three, but all the top leaders are in agreement on this, and they're going to try to introduce. We saw in the impact report quite how powerful they were in organizing the protests. They boast having sent 127 million emails in 2020, And they say in that impact report that out of the 127 million emails they sent, 1.2 million actions were taken. These actions could be the demonstrations that we saw, or it could be the 600 and some riots that we saw as a result of the demonstrations. It could be the destruction of property. So that impact report shows, and it shows also how powerful their political action committee, their PAC is. They have a PAC, they have a curriculum. They have changed the country, and they have changed the country not for the better. They're changing the country for the worse if it means that we're going to get rid of our economic system.
Thanks for watching the Heritage Foundation's YouTube channel. With more than 500,000 members, we are the nation's largest conservative research and education institution. We believe the principles and ideas of the American founding are worth conserving and renewing. Please help us further our mission by subscribing to this channel and sharing our videos with your family and friends.